The stars above Colony Veganine blinked quietly, as if unaware of the horror below them. It was a small planet on the edge of human space, newly settled, peaceful, and quiet. The people there had started to build a future. Children played under artificial suns, families planted gardens. There was no war, no danger, only the hope of a new life. Eva was one of those children. She was 8 years old. Her hair was curly, and she wore a necklace made from glass beads her mother had given. Her father worked as a terraforming engineer. Her mother, a botanist, spent most of her time growing earth plants in alien soil. They loved each other. They laughed every day. One morning, the skies above Veganine turned red. At first, people thought it was a solar flare, but it was not. The red glow came from ships, alien ships. Their design was like nothing humans had seen before, shapes like spinning knives, wings like black bone. They did not send messages, did not answer hails. They landed near the colony's edge. The humans waited. Some grabbed weapons, others locked their doors. Eva held her mother's hand tightly. Then came the sound. A loud, sharp hum-hype. Like a scream made by a machine, it caused windows to shake. People screamed, some covered their ears, and then the aliens walked into the town. They were tall and thin, with silver skin and many black eyes. Their mouths were hidden behind masks. They did not speak. They took who they wanted. Eva remembered hiding under a table. She remembered her mother whispering, "Don't move, don't breathe." She remembered the door crashing open. They pulled her mother away first. Her screams echoed. Eva ran. She didn't even realize she had a communicator in her pocket. It was her father's. It had one button, emergency broadcast. She pressed it. The video started recording. Eva was shaking, hiding behind a metal bin. Her small hands held the communicator too tightly. Tears ran down her face. They took my mom," she said. "They hurt me. Please, someone help." A shadow appeared behind her. Her scream was the last sound on the recording before the video went black. That message traveled across space. It reached Earth in 17 hours. In Earth's command's war room, the video played in silence. No one spoke when it ended. There was nothing to say. The Prime Commander, an older man with a face lined by war and peace, stood still. His eyes were cold, focused. Around him, generals, scientists, diplomats sat frozen. The girl's voice had reached them, not just in sound, but in soul. A general finally whispered, "How many did we lose?" The response came from a young officer, 300 civilians. Colony wiped out. "We've identified the attackers. Karnak Empire." The room gasped. The Karnak were not enemies. Not exactly. They had trade treaties, diplomatic channels. They never seemed aggressive. Strange, yes, secretive. But until now, they had never attacked. Why? Someone asked. No one answered. The Prime Commander walked slowly to the center of the room. His boots clicked against the metal floor. He looked at the screen, still frozen on the girl's tear-filled face. "We showed peace," he said. "We gave kindness." He turned to the others. "They hurt our child." He paused. His voice dropped to a growl. "They think we are soft, that we will beg." He looked to the highest-ranking fleet officer. "Send word to Black Section." Everyone turned their heads. Black Section was not spoken of. It was Earth's secret fleet. A collection of silent ships, AI-controlled weapons, and soldiers who did not exist on any record. "Activate Ash Legion," he said. The officer hesitated. "Sir, do we want war?" "We don't want anything," the commander said.
Right.
"We will give them what they deserve." Across Earth's skies, black ships began to rise. They were built in the shadows, never shown in public. They had no names, only numbers. Their weapons glowed blue. Their engines left no heat. They were ghosts in the stars. At the head of the fleet was Admiral Rail. She stood on the bridge of the Vengeance 01, a ship as long as a city and shaped like a blade. Her face was unreadable. Her orders were simple. Do not negotiate. Ask, do not wait. The soldiers on board were already preparing. Sergeant Nova, a combat leader, loaded her weapons with silent precision. Her eyes burned. Eva was her niece. Kill them all, she whispered. Elsewhere on Earth. Dr. Kane, the AI warfare strategist, activated the firewalls that would allow him to control over 200 remote drones. His face was calm, but his voice was ice. We'll erase them, he said. Their language, their maps, their stars, gone. Back at Earth Command, the Prime Commander sent one final message. A direct transmission to the Karnak High Council. The message was only one sentence long. You hurt one of ours. He paused, then added 3 more words. We are coming. The stars blinked again. This time, perhaps in fear, far across the galaxy. In the heart of the Karnak Empire, their leaders watched the human message. They laughed at first. They are emotional, one said. They built weapons they never used. Why? The room quieted. The Karnak did not know what humans were truly capable of. Till now, humans had only shown their peaceful side. Trade, art, technology, diplomacy. But hidden behind that was something else. A promise. That, if anyone touched their young, their fire would reach across the stars. The Karnak didn't understand. Not yet. But they were about to learn, because deep in the black of space, the Ash Legion was on the move, silent, cold, ready. And behind them, the voice of a little girl still echoed. They hurt me. Please, someone help. This was not revenge. This was a message. No one hurts a human child, not without turning their world to ash. Zarnes was a green world with blue skies and silver mountains. It was the 3rd planet of the Karnak's inner systema farming world, quiet and clean. It had cities, schools, homes. It also had secrets. Human satellites had picked up strange signals there. Weapon transports, military coding, disguised buildings. Karnak had said it was peaceful. They lied. The Ash Legion arrived without a warning. 5 destroyer-class ships appeared in orbit. No sirens. No negotiations, just silence. Admiral Rail stood. On the bridge of Vengeance 01, her eyes fixed on the planet below. Begin scan, she ordered. Data filled the screen. Cities lit up like fireflies. Hidden bunkers revealed themselves under hills and rivers. Human AI confirmed it. Zarnes was no farming world. It was a weapons lab. Target confirmed, Rail said. Open the gates. In the engine core of Vengeance 01, a massive solar mirror began to unfold. It looked like a flower made of glass and fire. It turned toward the nearest sun, catching its light, and focusing it into a narrow, deadly beam. They called it Sunfire. On the ground, the Karnak citizens looked up. They saw a golden line stretch across the sky. Then came the heat. Buildings cracked. Trees turned to ash. Metal melted. The air caught fire. One city, just one, was destroyed in 6 seconds from orbit. The fleet watched without blinking. No one cheered. Inside one of the human strike ships, Sergeant Nova landed with her team. Their mission was not just to destroy, but to search. Intel had said that one of the lead scientists who tortured Ava's mother was here. They moved through burning streets, their boots crunching glass and bone. The Karnak tried to fight. They failed. Nova's voice was cold through the coms. Find the lab. Oh. The squad reached a tower made of black stone. Inside, they found cages, machines, and something worse. Holograms, recordings of children, of pain. The same ritual shown in Ava's final message was there, but this time with notes. Instructions. A method. It wasn't random. It was a system. Nova clenched her fists, her voice cracked. They did this again and again. One soldier whispered, "What kind of monsters are they?" Another answered, "Doesn't matter now. You're not getting a second chance." They planted thermal charges in the lab. The building rose into the air in flames. The fire spread, and then the command came from orbit. Glass the surface. Rail gave the final order. All ships opened fire. Laser beams swept across Zarnes like paintbrushes of fire. Cities vanished. Mountains cracked. Rivers boiled. A dust cloud rose that would last for 100 years. Zarnes was no more. Only ash remained. Back. On the ship, Nova watched the destruction from the observation window. Her armor was cracked, her eyes red. She didn't look away. They had schools there. One soldier said softly. Nova didn't answer. After a long pause, she said, "So did we." Word of Zarnes spread across the galaxy faster than light. News networks showed satellite photos of the planet before and after. The aftershot was terrifying. A once green world, now black. Lifeless aliens everywhere watched and stayed. Silent, some were afraid, others were angry, but most understood. Humans had drawn a line, touched their child. And your world will pay the price. In the Karnak High Council, the leaders screamed at each other. They have gone too far. One shouted. They started this, another answered. We only meant to test them. Well, now we know, said the eldest. They are fire, he whispered, and they do not forget. Some Karnak wanted to surrender. Others wanted to strike back. But no one had a plan. They were losing faster than they could speak. Their empire had never known its true war. But now they were fighting ghosts, machines, fire, humans, and they were losing. Back on Earth, the Prime Commander watched the news in silence. A young diplomat. Approached him, sir. Alien ambassadors are asking questions. They want to know how far we'll go. The commander didn't look away from the screen. Zarnes was burning. He said, they'll get their answer soon. Eva was still unconscious in medical care, but Earth knew her name now. Millions had seen her video. Artists drew her face. Soldiers wore her name on their chest. Eva unit, a ghost fleet. A child's name? A warning. The Ash Legion moved again. The next planet was already on the list. But first, a message was sent to all corners of space. It was short. Zarnes was the beginning, not the end.
Attached to that message was a
still image. A drawing made by Eva. A simple picture. A human family smiling, holding hands. The sky behind them was blue, and in the corner, a small shadow with many black eyes, crossed out in red. The Black Fleet moved through space like a storm with no sound. Ships built for one purpose, to make the enemy disappear. No music played, no orders were shouted. The soldiers already knew why they were going. They had all seen the girl's message on board. The Vengeance 01, Admiral Rail, stood in silence, staring into the dark. Her face was still, but her thoughts burned like fire. The fleet behind her had no flags, no names, only code numbers. They were the Ash Legion, Earth's ghost army, created in secret, trained in silence. Used only when there were no more rules. Left to follow, Admiral Rail spoke into the com. All captains, confirm readiness. Voices replied, calm and cold. Strike Team Alpha, ready. Long-range ion platforms, ready. Ghost-class infiltration ships, ready. Drone cluster units. Standing by, she nodded. Destination, Karnak Outpost Theta. The Karnak had many outposts, some known, some secret. But Earth's AI had found one of the listening stations, a relay point used to spy on human colonies. That would be their first target. Back on Earth, the Prime Commander watched from the war room. Behind him, the girl's frozen image still remained on the large screen. A general asked, should we contact the Karnak first? Demand justice? The commander didn't even turn around. We did, he said. That video was our message. On the other side of the galaxy, Karnak Outpost Theta floated near a dead moon. It was quiet, unarmed. A place for information, not for war. Inside, Karnak scientists studied human transmissions, were trying to learn Earth's languages, patterns, weaknesses, None of them expected death. The first human drone arrived without warning. It was silent. It was invisible to Karnak's sensors. It entered the outpost's docking bay without opening a door. It phased through the wall. A moment later, the outer hull exploded inwards. Then came the others. Dozens of black drones entered. At once, each carrying plasma knives and energy charges. They did not speak. They did not ask questions. They only killed. The outpost's alarms went off, but no one heard them for long. Rooms caught fire. Doors melted shut. Electricity cut out. Then came the gas colorless, fast and freezing. One Karnak commander managed to send a signal before dying. It was short. They're here. By the time Karnak reinforcements arrived, the outpost was gone. Nothing remained. Not even dust. Back on the Vengeance 01, Admiral Rail looked at the data. No survivors, her officer said. Good, she replied. Leave a message. They launched a beacon into the space where the outpost had once floated. The beacon glowed. With a soft blue light, it sent out one sentence, repeated over and over. Touch one, bleed all. The message was picked up by nearby alien ships, neutral traders, scouts, and even spies. Within hours, word spread across 5 systems. The galaxy began to whisper. Humans were angry. Humans were hunting. On the second day, the Ash Legion moved again. This time they didn't hit an outpost. They hit a supply station. Karnak freighters were landing there, refueling for deep space jumps. The base was shielded and had defenses. It didn't matter. Human ships dropped out of warp in formation. Ion blasts struck the shields in seconds. Drone swarms hit the power grid. AI-guided torpedoes followed escaping ships. One by one, they exploded. Like sparks in the void inside the base, Karnak soldiers tried to fight. They were brave, but they were not ready. The humans didn't speak. They moved like ghosts, every step planned, every shot clean. One soldier tried to surrender. He dropped his weapon and raised his hands. Sergeant Nova looked at him. She remembered Ava's face. No. A. Pulled the trigger. After the station was cleared, Nova stood among the wreckage. Smoke rose around her. The air was hot and thick with the smell of burning metal. A young private approached her, nervous. Ma'am, should we evacuate the non-combatants? Nova turned slowly. Her voice was flat. Did they evacuate the children? The private said nothing. Nova walked away. Meanwhile, in Karnak space, panic was growing. The High Council met in a dark chamber of floating lights and cold metal. Their faces were long, inhuman, twisted with fear. They are burning everything. One said, "They have no fear of death," said another. "No interest in peace." "We heard a child," the oldest one whispered. "They are showing us what that costs." Many wanted to send a message to Earth, an apology, a treaty, but no one had the courage. Back on Earth, the Prime Commander received transmissions from other alien races. Some begged for information. Some offered support. A few warned Earth to stop before the war grew bigger. He ignored them all. "We are not asking," he told his officers. "We are answering." Across human space, the people watched in silence. Videos of the attacks were leaked, ships exploding, soldiers marching through fire, drones swarming like insects. Most humans did not cheer. They did not smile. They just remembered the little girl Eva. Her name became a code, painted on helmets, carved into ships, burned into the sides of weapons. EVA-01. She was not just a child now. She was a symbol, a line that should not have been crossed. On the third day, the Ash Legion attacked a Karnak research moon. This time, they did not destroy it. They took it. Inside, they found records, experiments, horrors, children, not just human, alien, mutated. Used, Sergeant Nova stood in the dark lab, looking at the cages. She spoke only one word. Burn it. They left no trace behind. The message was now clear to everyone. In the galaxy, do not hurt what we protect. Do not test our silence, because when we break it, we don't speak, We roar and we burn. After Zarnes turned to ash, the galaxy changed. Silence fell across stars where once there was chatter. Trade routes went dark. Borders tightened. The word Eva now echoed from moon stations to capital worlds. No one asked who she was anymore. Everyone already knew the humans were not just angry, they were becoming something else. The Ash Legion continued moving. But something had shifted. Other alien races, those who once doubted Earth, were now afraid. But some were curious, some were impressed, some wanted in. On the icy moon of Korma, a message reached the humans. It was from the Geltarian ancient race with crystal skin and glowing blood. They were watchers, neutral for centuries, until now their message was short. We have seen your wrath. In your pain, we wish to speak. Admiral Rail received it aboard Vengeance 01. She raised an eyebrow. They want peace, she asked. Her science officer shook his head. They want something else, a pact. Rail considered this. She knew the Ash Legion could keep burning worlds. But she also knew something bigger was happening. The galaxy was watching. And maybe, just maybe, this war was no longer just about revenge. They met the Geltari near a dying sun. A neutral ground. Both sides brought no weapons, no armies, only words. The Geltari's leader was called Veron. He looked like a being carved from blue crystal floating just above the ground. His voice was like wind in glass. We saw the girl, he said. She reminded us of what? Admiral Rail asked. Veron's glowing eyes dimmed. Of our own silence. Long ago, the Karnak did the same to us. Took our young, experimented. We did nothing. Rail stared. You let it happen? We were afraid, Veron said. You were not, so we offer this. A pact. You continue your war. We will help you find the ones hiding, the ones who gave the orders. You burn their bodies. We burn their names. Rail stood silent. Then she reached out her hand, and the pact of fire was born. Back on Earth, the Prime Commander received news of the Alliance. He smiled for the first time in weeks. The galaxy is shifting, he said. We are no longer alone. But not everyone was happy. In Karnak space, fear became chaos. Planets shut their ports. Soldiers deserted. Citizens tried to flee. Many began asking questions. Why did we hurt the human child? What were we doing on Veganine? Who gave the command? And in the shadows of Karnak Command, one name kept appearing. High Strategist Maldashtor. He was one of the first to push. For testing the human colony, quiet man, always behind closed doors, no public record, no images. But Earth intelligence had found something, a recording in it. Meltor stood in front of a group of Karnak officers. His voice was cold. They believe in peace, in kindness. That makes them weak. Let us hurt them in the softest place through their young. When they fall, we take their space, their tech, their future. The humans watched that video, and now they had a new target. Rail stood before her command officers and played the clip again. This man, she said, is the reason Eva screamed. The room fell quiet. He doesn't get to die in silence, Rail added. He burns, but not yet. First, we make sure he watches everything he built full. So the Ash Legion changed course. Instead of destroying, they began dismantling. Communication relays, sensor webs, lines. All of it cut down piece by piece. Karnak fleets became blind, helpless. And everywhere the humans struck, they left one thing behind. A blue flame. It didn't spread. It didn't harm, it simply glowed. A symbol, you're next. Back on Earth. Eva still lay in recovery. Doctor said her body was healing, but her mind was lost in sleep. But one day, she moved. Just her fingers, just enough. The nurses rushed in. A doctor called command, and for the first time, the Prime Commander smiled again. She's waking up, he whispered. He stood and looked out the window. Let the monsters know. The girl they tried to break is coming back. That message reached the front lines. Sergeant Nova looked up when she heard. She's still fighting, she said. Then so will we. The war had started with pain. Now it was becoming a mission, not just to burn, but to reveal, to uncover what the Karnak had done to others. To stop it forever. Not just for Eva, but for every child, every race, every world that had ever suffered in silence. The Pact of Fire was growing, and somewhere, deep in space, High Strategist Maltor watched from a dark ship. He saw the worlds burn. He heard the silence between the explosions, and for the first time in his cold life, felt fear. The Ash Legion no longer moved like a fleet. It moved like a storm. Small strike teams were sent into forgotten systems, old starfields where maps faded and satellites died. These were the places the Karnak didn't want anyone to find, and now humans were finding them. Admiral Rail watched the new reports from orbit above the Ghost. Built a graveyard of failed ships and broken stations. Her fingers tapped the control panel. Another abandoned facility. Another. Signaled another scream from the past. She turned to the map. Where would a monster run if he was being hunted? She asked aloud. The AI answered. Maltor has no known home world. But he has one pattern. He always hides near something dying. Aurel nodded. Then we look where even vultures won't go. Meanwhile, deep in Karnak space, Sergeant Nova led a ground team onto a shadow world. No sunlight reached the surface. The clouds were thick, and the air stank of metal and oil. The place was dead, but alive with secrets. Their scanners picked up faint energy underground. They entered an old facility. Doors creaked, lights flickered, and in the silence, they heard something soft, crying. Nova raised her hand, weapons down. They entered a dark room. Inside were cages not made for animals, but for children. Dozens of them. Some alien, some barely alive, all afraid. A young girl with pale skin and glowing eyes looked up. Are you humans? She asked. Nova dropped her weapon and ran forward. Yes, we're here. You're safe now. The girl shook. Her head slowly. No. He's still watching us. Nova's voice broke. Who? She pointed to a broken screen. On it was a frozen image of Maltor's face. His message still repeated in a loop. Fear brings truth. Pain reveals power. Nova turned and called in the evac team. As the children were lifted out, one soldier asked, "What kind of war is this?" Nova didn't answer, because she already knew it wasn't a war of territory. Anymore, it was a war of memory, and humans were going to make sure no one forgot. Back on the Vengeance 01, Admiral Rail gathered her captains. We found a path, she said. It leads through an old black hole cluster. No ships go there, no signals. It's perfect for hiding. One captain asked, and what do we do when we find him? Rail looked at the map. We don't kill him, not yet. Why not? Asked another. Rail's voice was like steel. Because I want him to see what's coming. I want him to watch the empire he built fall. Brick by brick. Breath by breath. The fleet moved into the hollow quadrant. This place had no stars. Only cold light from neutron fragments. The ships passed through silence darker than space itself. Suddenly, sensors lit up. A base hidden inside an asteroid, powered by stolen human cores. They had found something, eh? Tracking signal matched Maltor's last command ship, Nova and her. Team dropped in first. The halls were empty. Too empty. This isn't right, she said. They moved forward, checking room by room. Then they found it. A room full of data, cores memories, research, orders. Everything Maltor had done, he had left. It there like bait. Nova turned fast. It's a trap. But it was too late. The asteroid shook. An AI voice echoed through the base. You think this is revenge? It's not. It's a mirror. You became what you feared. The walls exploded inward. Drones, Karnak, black steel units poured out. They weren't ordinary. They were copies of human machines. Stolen designs. Stolen minds. Nova Squad fought hard, every blast echoing down the iron halls. She moved like fire, every shot landing clean. But there were too many outside. The fleet responded fast. Rail ordered emergency fire. Lasers cut through the asteroid's crust, burning enemy drones midair. Nova's team made it out, barely breathing. The asteroid broke in too. But Maltor was not there, only his voice. You cannot kill me, because you are already becoming me. Rail closed the cum. No, she said. We are becoming what you were afraid of. She downloaded all the data. It was full of files, messages, even maps. And then they saw it. A hidden location, coordinates labeled simply Project Origin. And beside it, a human name, Eva, back on Earth. The doctors watched the young girl breathe slower now, deeper. Her fingers twitched again. This time, her eyes opened. One word escaped her lips. Hollow. The nurse leaned closer. What? Eva's hand gripped the blanket. He's in the hollow, she whispered. She was awake, and she remembered everything. Eva opened her eyes fully. The lights above her were soft, human-made, safe. But her thoughts were not. Images flashed in her mind-cold rooms. Burning lights, whispers in a language she never understood. Pain screams, hers and others, she remembered. It all now. The doctor stepped back as alarms beeped faster. Ava's heart rate rose, her breathing sharpened. She sat up, shaking. Where's my mom? She asked. No one answered. The silence gave her the truth. Tears filled her eyes, but only for a second. Then she stopped, because something inside her changed far away on the Vengeance 01. Admiral Rail watched the decrypted files from the Karnak base. Project Origin, a black site. Older than the war, older than the first colony on Vega-9. She leaned forward. Zoom in. The documents showed images of children, human and alien, taken from different systems, all tested, all cataloged. And at the center of it all, Girl.Eva.Rail froze. They planned this, she whispered. They found her years ago, and they marked her. The science officer nodded. They weren't just torturing her. They were activating something. What? We don't know. Whatever it is, they were afraid of it. Back in the Earth Medical Center, Eva looked into the mirror. Her skin was pale. Her eyes, once soft, now shimmered faintly with silver light. The nurse stepped closer. Eva, do you feel okay? Eva turned. Her voice was soft but steady. He's still alive, Maltor. The nurse froze. How do you know? Eva pointed at her head. Because he left a part of him here. Flash beckoned. One of the Karnak labs. Maltor watched a screen where Eva was strapped to a table. Her mind opened to strange devices. His scientist stood by. She's the first, Maltor said. The first with the potential. If we awaken her fully, she burns stars. We don't control her. We become her. Scientist hesitated. What if she resists? Maltor smiled. Then we break her, bit by bit. Flash forward now. The breaking was done. But Eva was still standing, back in orbit. Rail slammed her hand on the console. They weren't trying to destroy her, she said. They were trying to shape her. Into what? Asked her officer. Rail stared at the star map. A weapon, she said. Something beyond control. But something had gone wrong for the Karnak, because instead of making her their tool, made her our weapon at that moment. An incoming signal flashed across the board. Unknown origin. Direct message. From Maltor. Rail answered it. His face appeared half in shadow, his eyes cold. She's waking up, he said. You think this is a victory? It's not? You've unlocked something you don't understand. Rail didn't flinch. We'll take our chances. Maltor's voice dropped lower. She's connected to something older than your kind. Something buried. She's not a child. She's a signal. Rail cut the call. Back on Earth, Eva stood up for the first time in weeks. The machines around her beeped wildly and stopped laning. But she was breathing. The lights above her flickered. The glass in the room began to vibrate. And from deep inside her, a hum began to grow. A frequency, a pulse. Not human, but not Karnak. Either. The Prime Commander entered the room. He saw her standing awake, glowing calm. He didn't speak. Eva did. I know where he's going, she said. the commander asked quietly. Where? She looked up. To the place they buried the first signal, the one they used to find me. It's called the Hollow Star. That's where this ends. Commander nodded slowly. Then that's where we go. From orbit, the fleet turned its course. One final location appeared on the map. Hollow Star System, classified. Red zone. No records. No return. The Pact of Fire was ready. Ships from other alien races joined silent cruisers from the Jeltari. Old dreadnoughts from the Grolan Empire. Stealth wings from the Kryn Vale. All behind one child. One cause. One voice that said, no more silence. And in the shadows of deep space, Maltor stood before a giant sealed gate older than Karnak history, humming with power. Behind it, something pulsed. Waiting, not machine, not flesh. A signal, and Maltor smiled. They will come, he said. Let them. Let her. The final phase had begun. The stars near the hollow system didn't shine. They flickered, like dying eyes. Even space itself seemed darker here, as if light didn't want to stay. Gravity shifted, time slowed. Every ship that entered the region felt it. The fear, the ash. Legion's fleet came in first, followed by their new allies, the Jeltari crystal ships. The black Grolan dreadnoughts and the Kurin cloaked wings. Dozens of worlds behind them. One mission ahead, they were quiet, waiting, onboard vengeance, so one. Admiral Rail stood with her officers. A massive structure floated in the darkness before them. Ancient metallic humming. The hollow star, a station, tomb. No one knew, but Eva had pointed them here, and now she was on board. The child who had started it all, she stood near the observation window. Her silver eyes were brighter now. Her voice was calm, clear. This is where they first found it, she said. Rail stepped closer. Found what? Eva didn't look away. The thing that speaks to minds. The signal. It doesn't come from technology. It comes from something living. Rail stared at the hollow star. Alive? Eva nodded. Not like us. Not like them. Something between. Rail turned to her officers. Prepare boarding teams. We enter now, with full protection. The fleet moved in. Boarding pods launched from every direction, breaking through the hollow star's outer shell. No resistance, no alarms, just silence and shadows. Inside, the halls were wide and black. Strange symbols pulsed along the walls like veins glowing with faint blue light. Nova led her team in first. It's not Karnak tech, she said. It's older. They moved deeper, then stopped. A chamber opened before them. In its center floated a massive sphere, cracked, pulsing softly. Wires ran through it, but not made by hand, grown and surrounding it. Statues, but not just statues, bodies. Frozen, preserved, humanoid, alien, Karnak. All shapes, all with the same expression. Fear Eva stepped forward alone. She wasn't afraid. She placed her hand on the sphere. It pulsed. A wave of energy flew out, knocking the teams back. Ava's body lifted into the air. Her eyes went white. Rail shouted, "Get her out!" But the Geltari emissary held up a glowing hand. No, he said. She's not dying. She's becoming. Inside her mind, Eva saw it. A vision. A world from before time. A place where signals lived like creatures. Pure energy. No bodies. No borders. No hate. Just thought. Then the Karnak came. They found the first signal here. They took it. Trapped. It twisted it. They tested it on many races. Only one survived, Eva. She wasn't the first. Child taken, but she was the first to adapt. And now the signal wasn't just inside her, it was her. Eva floated slowly back to the ground. The sphere dimmed. She opened her eyes. They were no longer silver. They were glowing white. I know what he wants, she said. Rail stepped forward. Maltor. Eva nodded. He wants to open the gate hidden behind this star. It holds the full source of the signal. If he controls it, he controls every mind in the galaxy. And you? Rail asked. I can stop him, Eva said. But I'll need to go alone. Rael's heart froze. You're just a child. No, Eva interrupted gently. I'm what they made. But I'm not what they own. Suddenly, alarms blared. Multiple warp signatures. The Karnak fleet had arrived. Hundreds of ships at their front. Maltor's flagship. The black halo, shaped like a claw tearing through space. His voice echoed across open comms. Oh, you found my cage? Good. Now watch it become your grave. Admiral Rael stood tall. All ships defensive formation. We hold this ground. Space around the hollow star erupted in battle. Lasers cut across blackness. Fighters danced like fireflies. Alien warships from all sides joined the fight. Nova led ground teams to defend the hollow star interior, and Eva walked deeper into the structure toward the final chamber where the gate pulsed. Waiting to be opened, she placed her hand on it inside. A voice spoke, not Maltor's, but something else. Older, softer. Double quotes, you were not meant to be a weapon. You were meant to be the warning. Tears filled her eyes. She nodded. I understand now. And behind her in the sky, Maltor's ship broke. Through the frontline firing, furious, fearless, he was coming for her, to take what he started, but this time, she wasn't alone. The battle outside the hollow star raged like the end of the galaxy. Human cruisers and Karnak destroyers clashed in brilliant waves of fire. Black space burned gold. Ships vanished in silence, some exploding, others drifting. Admiral Rael stood, firm on the bridge of vengeance, so one, shouting commands. Her officers bled, but no one retreated. They had come too far. Inside the hollow star, Eva walked into the core chamber. The gate pulsed before her, a structure of living light and ancient metal. Its hum reached into her bones. Behind her, Nova and the last defense team held the line. Karnak drones pushed through the corridors, but none passed. They were protecting her, and then he came. Maltor stepped out of a flickering portal, dark energy swirling behind him. His armor was cracked, his eyes wild, but he smiled. You survived everything I gave you, he said. Good, that means you're ready. Eva faced him, calm. No fear, I'm not yours, she said. He walked closer. You were the key, you were made for this. The signal inside you, do you even know what it really is? She didn't answer, so he told her, it's not power. Memory. The memory of a race older than time. Doesn't just connect minds, it creates them. That's why we wanted it. To rebuild the galaxy in our image. Ava's voice was quiet. You don't rebuild. You destroy. I create order, Maltor shouted. Pain is the only truth left in the universe. No, she said. It's just the only one you understand. He raised his weapon, but Eva didn't move. Instead, the gate behind her opened just slightly. A beam of light struck her back. Her body lifted into the air, glowing white. Maltor fired. The blast hit her and passed through her. She wasn't there. Not anymore. Ava's voice echoed not from her mouth, but from the air itself. You used my pain to build your war. No. Use it to end yours. Light burst from her chest, blinding, hot, endless. Maltor screamed. The chamber shook outside. The Karnak ships paused. Their systems froze. Pilots dropped their weapons. Something was entering their minds, not fire. Not control truth, their own crimes. The faces of the children, the voices of those they silenced, screams they ignored. All of it returned. The signal Eva carried didn't just connect thoughts, it forced remembrance. It made them feel what they made others feel. The Karnak fleet broke apart. Some self-destructed, some fled, some just shut down. On the ground, Maltor fell to his knees. Smoke rose from his body. He looked up at Eva, eyes wide. Please, he whispered. Don't do this. Eva landed gently in front of him. She didn't speak, because it wasn't revenge anymore. It was justice. Her eyes glowed once more, and with one word, it ended. Sleep. Maltor's body went still. No fire, no scream. Just silence. His war, his empire, his name. Gone. Outside, the hollow star pulsed again. A wave of light spread across the stars, not destroying, not burning, waking the planets the Karnak had silenced. Began to stir. Dormant systems lit up. Lost satellites reconnected. Forgotten people looked to the sky. Something had changed. Back on Earth. The Prime Commander received the signal. Just one line. It is finished. Weeks later, the galaxy began to rebuild. Memorials stood on every world that had joined the Pact of Fire. New alliances formed, human and alien. Once enemies, now something closer to family, Admiral Rail retired. Her final report simply titled, "They hurt one child, and the stars remembered." Nova visited Eva, who now lived quietly on a green world near twin suns. She smiled more, spoke little, but when she did, the plants seemed to grow faster. The wind listened. "Are you okay?" Nova asked. Eva nodded. "I'm not what they made." She said, "I'm what they feared." Far beyond known space, in the ruins of the hollow star, the gate pulsed once more. Not open, not closed, waiting because even though Malter was gone, the signal remained, watching, listening, and remembering always. Remembering.